Bora? Bora. Tem muita papinho.
What's up, grinders? Welcome back to the channel. So
Yeah.
today we're going to be doing a react to a video from Matt vs. the World. Why do I keep contradicting myself? So
Ah, só pra deixar registrado. Hoje, dia. Nem lembro que dia é hoje. Dia 30 de maio. Dia 30 de maio eu terminei. Faculdade? Não. Mas eu nem vou estudar mais, porque eu já terminei as matérias. Eu terminei a prova que faltava. Então eu já fiz todas as provas, já completei o semestre. Só que o semestre termina em junho, final de junho, dia 30 de junho. Mas eu terminei hoje, dia 30 de maio. Tá ligado? Parabéns nos comentários. Tamo junto.
I've had a bunch of requests in recent videos for me to go check out some videos from Matt because apparently he's changed his opinions on what he believes is the best way to learn a language. From memory, he was very, very, very heavy on the input side of things, but also like a big flashcard user, etc. And the last thing I really, truly watched from him was this video right here, the language school that teaches adults like babies, the ALG approach. This one actually came out at the exact same time as I started testing the ALG theory via Spanish with my Dreaming Spanish series. So I'm curious to see what he's got to say now. But I have actually already watched this part of the video. It's literally just his entire life story, so we're going to start from this point right here, watching my students struggle.
The next important thing that happened that led to a shift in my language learning worldview was moving to Japan.
Pra quem não conhece esse Matt aqui, ele é um cara que, mano, se eu não me engano, ele é dos Estados Unidos e ele quis aprender o japonês e ele focou, mano, tryhardou, velho. Ficava dentro do quarto estudando japonês, só ouvia japonês, celular no japonês e deu certo.
2022. After moving to Japan, I started meeting many foreigners who were fluent in Japanese, way more than I'd ever met before. Because the reality is, most people that are fluent in Japanese don't make videos of themselves and put them on YouTube, right? So before, I really only had YouTube to go off of. Whereas here, now that I'm living in Japan, you know, you meet friends of friends and things like that. You meet a lot more people. Also, at the time, my channel was growing really quickly, and so a lot of people would just spontaneously come up to me. When you're in Japan, and if you're a foreigner, it's easy to notice other foreigners, right? The minority, especially at the time when I first moved to Japan in 2022, the country was still closed and tourists couldn't come. So foreigners were a lot rare. So we probably noticed each other even more. So pretty much multiple times a week, people would come up to me and be like, "Oh, are you Matt? Like, yeah, I watched your videos. You helped me learn Japanese." So basically, I met a lot of people that had learned Japanese using my method. And the thing was, they all kind of were like me. They were all extremely fluent in Japanese. They were all in the top 99% of ability, but they still had certain quirks. They would still sound kind of stiff in the way that they talked. They would still have a foreign accent. Generally, their pitch accent still wasn't very good. And overall, they were just A tier. They weren't S tier, if you know what I mean.
So basically, they were good enough in 99.9. They're probably good enough in every single situation, but they just weren't quite native. They weren't quite hitting that native thing. Like, I understand why people want to chase wanting to be native. Like, of course, if I could become the best Chinese speaker that I could and sound like a goddamn native, that would be fucking amazing. Like, it would probably be amazing for my YouTube channel, you know? Or the same with Spanish. Like, wouldn't really help with Esperanto. But my point being is, like, most of the time, it's actually just not worth the effort. You just got to decide, okay, well, I'm good enough. There's other things in life to do, rather than just become the absolute bee's knees of pronouncing this language, okay? You know, like, if you want to chase that goal, great. Just realize that that's something you'll be chasing forever. It's like the rabbit that's chasing, well, no, the dog that's chasing the rabbit on the stick.
So that kind of solidified that it's like, okay, my old method that I taught on YouTube, it works really well. Like I said, most people live in Japan for decades, they can't speak Japanese fluently. Most people try to study Japanese for years, they never become fluent. So the people that use my methods, they're still complete outliers in how successful they were. So beyond a shadow of a doubt, my method worked really great. But the other side of this is after moving to Japan,
By the way, his method is basically, if you watch the first half of this video, it's about 10,000 hours worth of work. That was me doing a rough calculation based on everything you mentioned. 2 years in school, studying the language, then 6 months full-time immersion, then going to the country, living there for, I think it was 6 months, then coming back, doing full-time immersion again, and then making friends in the language, basically living your entire free time within the language, watching just content in the language. It was like 10,000 hours worth of effort. So if you want to get good at a language...
E é método que só vai funcionar bastante, mas só vai funcionar 100% se você for uma pessoa mais jovem, que não tem essa responsabilidade de trabalhar e você consegue dedicar o dia inteiro ali aí sim. Aí dá muito certo.
I'm pretty sure if you spend 10,000 hours, you're going to get good at it, no matter what. Like, by that point, the method really doesn't matter anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to be good at that point. Like, a great example is my wife, okay? So my wife is Chinese. She speaks English. And, you know, like, to Australians, they can pick her out that she's Chinese. Like, she's got a slight accent, the slightest of accents. But she's been living here for 20 years at this point, okay? And using this language every single day. And when I first met her, let's just say it was pretty goddamn clunky. And now, because I met her 15 years ago, now she sounds damn near close. Very, very close. Like, she's at the point where even the AIs, when they're like listening to her voice, they get mixed between, you know, Australian and Chinese. They're not quite too sure. So it's pretty close. And that's just because she's just spent an insane amount of time with the language. And this is for someone who has absolutely no interest in Australian culture, in Western movies, Western films, or anything like that. She lives here purely because of, like, you know, it's just a better life, basically. So imagine someone who was, like, massively into the culture and the language, like Matt is.
Of those people that are just S tier, that are just like sound completely Japanese, or the way I'd put it is, even if they have some aspects of their Japanese that are still not perfect, like maybe they'll still make mistakes, maybe their pitch accent's not perfect, they have something else about their Japanese, something about their pronunciation and their mannerisms, like make them have this Japanese vibe. It's like they have this Japanese X factor that's so strong that even though they might make small mistakes, Japanese people feel that they're speaking to another native. It's like what I felt with Ken Cannon. And it's something that I think I don't have and people don't feel with me. When Japanese people speak with me, they feel like I'm speaking to a foreigner who's incredible at Japanese. Whereas when people speak to Oji Man, I think they feel like, oh, I'm talking to a Japanese guy. That's like the intuitive sense.
Is this actually true, or is this just your own form of imposter syndrome? Like, for those who speak Japanese and you listen to him, like, I have asked this question of one other person before, and they said he's very, very good, but he does have a slight accent. But, like, overall, this feels like more imposter syndrome than anything. Like, you're constantly trying to chase that perfection, you know? And it's like, yeah, I guess if you're trying to be a world athlete of the Japanese language, I don't know why, because, like, you're at a point now where you're so goddamn good, you might as well do something else, you know what I mean? Like, go learn another language or, like, a new skill set or something like that. Like, there's diminishing returns at a point that you just got to factor in. And by the way, I'm not saying don't do that. Like, I literally did this for Esperanto. I tried chasing this for ages. I think I did it for over 12, 13 years, trying to be the best of the best. I ran a YouTube channel where I was just producing videos in the language, you know, freaking every single day. But then I was like, why? You know, there's other shit to do in life. And then one day I just stopped. And I did other shit in life.
Like, kind of an obvious empirical truth. All the people that...
Mas a gente é muito imediatista, quer tudo pra ontem. Então, quanto mais rápido eu aprender, mais rápido não sei o que, mais rápido não sei o que, mais rápido... Nossa, é uma vida de emoção, de rapidez, e é isso aí.
that learn with reading have you...
E vai falar que a pessoa tá errada. Não tô errada não, é assim mesmo, você que é folgado.
approach have a good accent. All the people that learn through listening have an excellent accent. And basically the only people that were able to beat me were the people that learned through listening. So that's, for the most part, the story of how I came to believe that learning through listening initially is by far what's going to give you the best chance of getting the best accent possible. Now, a similar but slightly different kind of train of thought or kind of evolution of my thinking is the timing of when you should start doing output. So again, I talked about my experience and why I believed that really input is all it should take. And if you, for the most part, if you just get enough input, output should...
I don't know why he had this theory, because like it must have been obvious to him when he started studying pitch accent, like actually studying it and doing pitch accent courses, that obviously input was not enough. Maybe it comes from that whole ALG belief around, you know, damage. There's this idea within the automatic language growth sphere that if you do any form of study or anything like that, you're going to introduce damage into your language, and therefore you'll never be perfect. And maybe that's where this idea has come from. He's like, oh, well, already damaged due to, you know, studying at high school or stuff. But realistically, I think probably one of the biggest things, the biggest factors that helped him get good at the language was just probably age. Like, he was just young. It sounds like when he started Japanese, he was probably just at the back end of that period where kids can still kind of pick up a native accent if they live in country. And because he was so into Japanese and studying it so hard at that period of youth, like that got him close. I'm pretty sure if he did exactly what he did then, but just 10 years later, the results might be actually quite different. Now, obviously, this is an assumption, but I feel like that's it because, like, I know people who moved to Australia at 12 years old, and now that they're adults, you can't pick them apart from an Australian. You know, like they'd sound exactly like.
Vou finalizar o vídeo agora para dar tempo de postar até antes da meia-noite. Ok? Mas eu vou continuar estudando, tá? Um beijo.